lovely place. Let me emphasise, it's not just a rock in the middle of Bass Strait. It's like, how can I describe it? A little cut-off part of Wilson's promontory, but much more dramatic and with much fewer people. The cliffs on the west side of the island are the highest cliffs in Bass Strait, nearly 1,000 feet, straight down to the sea. And I've taken quite a few photographs, quite a bit of video. It's a place that inspires photography and video making, and Dave and I both have 4K cameras with us, so we can bring it back in reasonable quality. I'm currently recording this Juso on a Zoom H2 digicorder, although it's only mic to speaker patch. At least it'll be a record of what we do here. Hoping you don't object. Anyway, Peter, VK3PF for a reply, VK3AML port 7 on Deal Island.
Okay, and hopefully that control's got those, 3 Yankee Echo and Juliet Radio, I think. Yeah, fine, Chris, not a problem. No, it sounds excellent. I've seen footage of Deal Island in the past, and it's a really interesting spot indeed. And having seen the photography of it and also of Flinders, and having been to Wilson's Prom, I understand completely. I think I've got a pretty reasonable idea of what it all looks like. Hey, Chris. As far as I'm aware, the Kent Group National Park, which Deal Island is part, is a valid national park for the VKFF /WWFF award scheme. It's VKFF 0260. So if you do care to submit a log for VKFF to the VK7 coordinator in due course, it would be much appreciated. But thought I'd pop up and say g'day, and really do appreciate the effort that you've put in to get down there, Chris, and to make the light contacts last night, and to fill in your time in the meantime in a meaningful way, both photographically and also on air tonight. So I might slip out and sit on the side of Richard for a bit, and we'll catch up with you soon, Chris. VK3AML port 7, VK3 Parfox.
Yep. VK3PF. Yeah, thanks so much, and thanks for your support in the past too. It certainly is appreciated. We must make contact at the next Hamfest or whatever. Now I noticed that VK3JR, who I can hear quite well about 5 and 8, and VK3YE, about 5 and 7, have come on, and I've just yelled out to the other boys that you both are on. So they're making their way down the creek and then up the sand dune to get to the point that I'm sitting on, and you should hear them in a few minutes. I guess I better take VK3JR, Frank. Very nice to hear you there, Frank. Hello from the middle of Bass Strait. VK3JR and group, VK3AML port 7 on Deal Island.
Okay. Chris, you are 5 and 9 plus here.
VK3JR, thanks very much, Frank. And the name this way is Trevor, for those that are listening. And I'm down in Orbost in East Gippsland. VK3 Yankee Echo. G'day, Peter. And g'day, Frank. VK3 Alpha Mike Lima, portable VK7 on Deal Island, middle of Bass Strait. And now standing beside me are the two gentlemen who made this station all possible, VK3ASE, who's looking at the voltage on the existing 7 amp hour, I think it is, lithium cell, and we have another 18 amp hour cell to take us through the night, so we can be on for a fair while. The other two boys, 3SL and 3ASE, and I will initially hand it on to VK3 Sierra Lima. Take it. Oh, g'day. Thanks, Chris. This is VK3SL. Now, I haven't quite acquainted myself with the playlist here and who's on. But Chris has probably filled you in with the details. It's been a fabulous trip. We've been here on the island for a few days, and we've got a camp across the creek. We have to come down across the creek and up another ridge where the HF has a dive hall situated to a pole, and it's quite nicely located. We've got a beautiful view looking over Garden Bay. There's a couple of yachts in the bay, and lovely warm evening. It's not too bad. I'll put a jumper on, but it's on the whole, it's a gentle breeze. So that's what's happening. Chris has probably informed you about his light beam activities. It's been very successful. Okay, right. It's been on a WIA broadcast. Well, it was quite an eventful night, and we're away for over 12 hours all told. By the time we got to the venue, set up and tested, and it was all good fun. It was great to see it all happen. And when you saw that red dot on the horizon,
that station tuning up, please do so 5 KSA down.
Lock in and then enjoy the fruitful discussions. Amazing technical achievement. But Henry's with us as well. He's over in the tent. He's put his ukulele. He's been playing a bit, and we've done a number of really excellent little walks. Nice walk down to a bay called Little Squally Bay today. It's a beautiful spot with a very rugged coastline. And I have to say, it reminds me a lot of what we've done being down here. There are a lot of similarities on DLR, and I suppose that's to be expected. So there we go. That's just a snapshot of my impressions. Now I need to perhaps I'll pass it over to you, Chris, so you can. I really don't know who I pass it on to from here, but greetings, Peter, greetings, Frank. I don't know who else is there, but I'll find out by the next. Back to you, Chris.
Yes, via the switch room to Studio 2. Yes, we should actually, it's been interesting. We met the caretaker couple. They have a group called Friends of Deal Island, and they're a volunteer group who volunteer their time, come down as caretakers for 3 months stints on their own money, and maintain the island in return for accommodation here for in what really is it sounds cliche, but it's a paradise island, really. It's old lighthouse facilities at the residential accommodations at East Cove were designed originally to suit 3 lighthouse families in 3 8-hour shifts. So needless to say, there's no lack of water storage, there's no lack of electricity. In fact, at that camp they have a wall of solar panels, something like 25 metres long and about, I would say, 8 metres tall. And with that, they generate enough power not only for their own cooking and lights at the settlement, but also actually charge a little 4-wheel runabout. So the only vehicle on the island is electric. That unfortunately has been denied access to us. There's a new team at Tas National Parks who are very much more playing it by the book than the old ranger that we originally negotiated with. Read between the lines. We're not entirely happy, although it could have had a much worse outcome than what we've expected here. The weather is close to perfect for us. The trip across wasn't too rough, and it didn't cost us a huge amount. I think we each paid $250 return for the trip, and for a 5-day holiday to an ultra-remote locale, that's really very little to pay. Anyway, I'll hand it back to Net Controller, as I don't have the notebook, VK3ATX and the group VK3AML.
VK3AML. I'll just put in a short pause for any other stations that wish to call in. This is VK3ATX, Trevor. And please, if you are going to come onto the frequency and tune on, please do so just down the band or up the band a little bit, because we're running QRP stations here. Okay, put in a slight break to see if there's any other stations. Standing by.
VK3ACZ.
VK3ACZ. Very good, I've got you there. Okay, VK3ACZ, and your name and location, and address it to VK3AML, please. Go ahead.
Thanks very much for that. Yeah, VK3AML Port 7 VK3ACZ. Peter, Papa Echo Tango Echo Romeo, as you know. Looking forward to hearing all about it on your Saturday night broadcast when you get back. Sounds great. Really appreciated the report we got on the repeater this morning after the news broadcast. Hope you're hearing me okay. You're 5x7 into Baronia there. Back to you, Chris.
VK3ACZ, VK3AML with 3SL and 3ASE, who are kind of standing around. Always nice to have your feedback on the Saturday night transmissions, Peter. I can't persuade Dave, who set this up, to have a talk, but he's done a bloody good job of putting up an 80-metre dipole here on top of what amounts to a revegetated sand dune. My knees are sinking into the sand. One of the things I miss is having a portable chair, but it really was a bit too much for us to carry up the beach with our essentials. Anyway, I'll hand it back to VK3ATX as net controller. VK3 Alpha Mike Lima, portable VK7, Deal Island, Bass Strait.
Oscar Charlie 195.
Well done, Chris, for organising this, and we're all looking forward to hearing all about it in micro in due course. A bit of a historic contact this. Back to net control, VK3ATX for the group, VK3JR.
Yeah, what else can I tell you? Well, most of the walks on this island are fairly gentle, but the one that goes from the Lighthouse Keepers settlement at East Cove up to the light, the 1848 vintage light tower, which was originally put up there by convicts and bullock teams in 1848, really it's a very early one, is up a very steep, very long path, probably the most difficult talk, the most difficult walk on the island. It's made difficult not just by its steepness, but by the fact that it's surrounded by sheoak forests, and sheoak have those very long sort of pine needle-like leaves. They drop them onto the four-wheel drive track, and it makes it very slippery walking on a very steep slope. That's why I lost my reading glasses. I tripped and landed on a pocket that happened to have the glasses in it very foolishly. But they're only $2 shop glasses. I'm not going to worry. The only trouble is there isn't a $2 shop on Deal Island. We finally got up there about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, set up for the optical transmission, and then when night fell at about 9:15, 9:30, we were in touch with the other group in Gippsland via the Mount Tassie repeater, and the problem was finding the light on the horizon. We weren't quite sure exactly where to look. So just before nightfall, I'd set up a tripod very, very level with the beam pointed right on the horizon, and then I could scan the horizon back and forth, and eventually the boys in Gippsland saw the flash. I was able to line it up with the gun sight that's on the optical unit, and the first thing we heard through was an automatic siren tone, so it was a little bit unnerving. And if you ever hear the recording, we did record it all on a digicorder, you'll hear me saying, "Will you turn the bloody tone off and start talking and make this a record?" Eventually we had a chat for about an hour, and there was a lot of variation in level from S0 to about S8 through the night, and I think there was quite a bit of mist between us and them, so it wasn't ideal conditions, but it just showed that it could be done. And of course it's created the record. I don't know what the formal aspects of actually applying for it being recognised as a record might be, but we'll have to look to that when we get back. At the very least, I'll write this up as an article. There'll certainly be YouTube clips because Dave's been shooting in 4K, I've been shooting in 4K, I've been also taking literally hundreds of photographs of virtually everything to do with this island, the historic aspect, the communications aspect. Even tonight I've taken a few photographs of this station working. I'll see if Steve has anything to add. Steve, 3SL? Thanks, Chris. This is VK3SL, portable 7 on the 11. And one thing that's striking here is how tame the wildlife is. We have wallabies and pollaroos and kangaroos just everywhere. They're sort of in abundance. But they have absolutely no fear of man. They just bounce right up to you. And we've actually got a photo of Dave picking up a little pollaroo in the light station yesterday. It just sort of sends instinct to mind. So yes, it was that's quite notable. I think the wildlife on the mainland more conditioned perhaps. But look, Chris mentioned the she oak forest. The casuarina trees are abundant here, and they are quite slippery to walk on. So you have to watch your steps. And that last walk up to the top of the light station is quite getting going. It's a real climb. Once you're there, you have this extraordinary command of the view. It's just something so wonderful. And you've got Splits Island, you've got the underwater Tasmania on one side, you've got the, you can see Wilson's Prom on the other, and Ayers Island and Dover Island. It's just wonderful. And of course, everything went well. And we had a few hairy moments setting things up, and the wind did spring up a little bit, and we were worried about mist. All the planets online at the right time, which was really satisfying. So yes, we quite a palpable sense of relief, I think. So I've been trying to see quite a few other things while we're here as well. There's a number of really beautiful small bays, as I mentioned before, and they're all quite walkable. And Henry and I are going to go out to Squally Bay tomorrow. I think what I'm turning up for me. This is VK3SL portable 7 and VK3AML portable 7 on Deal Island. Steve has described it very well. It's a gorgeous place. There's no doubt about it. Try to see some photographs of it on the net. There are not many photographs of it on the net. There haven't been very many visitors here. We were half expecting actually to see a bit of aurora to the south, but we've seen none of that yet. We're not that lucky. Anyway, VK3ATX is net controller, VK3AML, portable VK7 on Deal Island, Bass Strait. VK3AML, portable 7, VK3ATX. Yes, very good, Chris and Steve. And not a problem. If I can help out at all, it's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, gentlemen, and all the other stations there. No worries, Peter. Well, something I haven't mentioned, which I really should, and this is the sad omission of our team. When we first tried to get down to Deal Island 12 months ago, almost to the day, one of the major supporters of the project, the co-designer and co-constructor of the optical gear, was Mike Groth, VK7 Mike Juliet. Mike is a very brilliant man. He's a double doctorate and one PhD in radio astronomy from the University of Otago, and another one in environmental studies, I think, at the University of Tasmania. He worked for the Tasmanian EPA, and in the course of being the nuclear scientist, actually at one stage for Brisbane General Hospital, he was always fascinated by the detection of low light signals, scintillations from radioactive decay that we use for mapping various types of, we're just changing batteries, hang on. Oh, okay. He was a great contributor to the light beam thing. Anyway, he came down, we tried to depart for Deal Island January 2020, and the weather was against us. A coalition of cold fronts that came in earlier than they should. Win Hobson, the skipper of the boat, invited us in and said, look fellas, it's not safe, we can't go. In actual fact, although we were disappointed, we were very glad to find that the skipper was so mindful of not only his safety but ours. But in the interim, unfortunately, Mike had a couple of health setbacks. Not only a blood protein that attacks the nerve sheets running to his feet, down his legs, so he now finds it difficult to walk over the last 12 months. On top of that, he got prostate cancer diagnosis and is currently, although we hoped he could take up a position on the Victorian side of the link, Mike 7MJ is currently undergoing radiation therapy, and while he's given the whole thing his blessing, he hasn't been able to take any active part. So he was responsible in no uncertain terms with our success with the particularly the electronic design of the optical transceiver that we put together jointly. So to Mike, VK7MJ goes a lot of the credit for the success that we had last night. It was just tragic that he wasn't with us at the time. I'll hand it over to the next controller, VK3ATX, VK3 Alpha Mike Lima, portable VK7 on Deal Island, Bass Strait.
VK3AML VK3ATX. Yes, well that's a lovely story, and sorry to hear that he suffered the disposition of what he's going through. So that's wish him all the best, and it wouldn't be nice to go through all that horrible things, but yeah, well done, and you're contributing it too. It's yeah, very, very well done. That's all I can say. Could add a few more things, but I think you've said it already.
Take care, enjoy the rest of your trip, and see you soon. Back to net control, VK3ATX for the group VK3JR, clear.
VK3JR, thank you very much, VK3ATX. Put it over to you there, Peter, VK3ACZ, VK3ATX.
Yeah, VK3ATX and the group VK3ACZ returning. Wonderful description from down there, what it's like on the island. Just fantastic. Really wonderful to hear, and to think that those animals are so tame. Obviously no foxes and probably no cats either. That's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, VK3ATX, VK3SL. I'll just take the mic for a moment. Thanks, Trevor. Thank you for being the controller on this and with this contact, and thank you to everyone for your comments as well. It's lovely to have a bit of a group discussion. That's about it from me. So again, thank you. It has been a thrill. It's been a rich experience in so many ways. It'll take a long time for it all to percolate into the whole thing to sort of, it'll keep growing, I think, after we get back. It's been wonderful. All right, I'll put it over to Chris for a final. And from me, thank you all, and I wish you a happy new year. This is VK3SL, portable 7 on Deal Island. Now going clear and handing it over to Mr. Long. And here I am in Studio 2, less than 2 feet away. Thanks. Thank you, Peter, for your comments. VK3ATX much for acting as net controller. You can imagine out in the bush like this, with minimal facilities, minimal light, transmitting and taking notes at the same time is slightly out of the question. And I'll be able to absorb what's been said on this contact much better when I listen to the digital recording that we're making. Admittedly only a mic to speaker patch, but it'll be enough for us to get a good idea of a good souvenir of the night. Anyway, VK3 Alpha Mike Lima with VK3SL, now closing, listening briefly, and from Garden Cove on Deal Island, exactly halfway between the north end of Flinders Island and the south end of Wilson's Promontory. Wishing everybody our thanks for participation, and catch you back in Melbourne. VK3AML, Port 7, Deal Island, Bass Strait, signing clear but listening.